Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is April the 5th, 2021, and today the topic is In God We Trust. I hope you all had a wonderful Resurrection Day yesterday, and I hope you guys had a great weekend since the last time we chit-chatted. Didn't do too much, I guess I did some virtual worship yesterday and then spent some time with my family. Saw my mom and my sister and my niece and my father and everything like that. And so, that's pretty much what we did. It was cool because mom kind of she ended up teaching my niece and my son about the cross, and she literally made a cross. For those of you all that want to tune in to me in the Go Deeper section, I might show it to you all because it's actually in here. I brought it in here last night, but she actually made a cross out of hangers and had ribbons and kind of told them what each thing represented. And so I think we made some nice little memories yesterday. And you just never know how much, how simple kids are. As much as we try to, do extra and do more and give them the world, something as simple as bubbles can brighten the kids' day. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what happened yesterday. I know my sister, got them in a nice little basket and filled it with all kinds of things. But we went outside and played with the bubbles at one point, and just the joy on my son's face as the bubbles were blown, and all those things. Those are the things that the memories, the things that what makes life what it is. So just saying that's how yesterday was. Actually. After we ate, I guess you would call it lunch or dinner. I can't remember what time we ate. But after we ate or whatever, we watched the Mahalia Jackson movie on Lifetime, and so that was cool. That was a good movie. See, I guess it's hard for me to look at stuff now. You know what I'm saying? So, because not only as an actor, but then also as a red pill person, it's kind of hard to look at stuff now just as entertainment, if that makes any sense. But it was good for what it was, and I know that sounds terrible. No offense to nobody that was in it. I mean, it was good. I'm not taking anything away from it. I just say that I question some of the stuff because it's I don't know. It's just something about obviously, okay, when it comes to biopics, right, and you're playing legendary people or people that have been in the public eye or whatever case is, and maybe we've kind of put a certain thing in our mind about these people, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm just saying, for me, I just wonder how close did they get to the original. But I can't remember the girl's name, but she did a phenomenal job. I don't know if she was singing all the stuff, but I think she did a great portrayal. This sounds terrible, so I'm going to stop. But anyway, I think she did a great portrayal. I'll just let you guys know I watched the movie last night, or yesterday, and didn't mean to get so deep. But anywho, we can talk about me and my thoughts about acting and all this stuff another time. This ain't even for this is for the juice. It's not for none of that. But anyway, anywho, so yes, the juice for today is In God We Trust. So basically how I got into this topic, as I was doing the prayer meditation, I just noticed the word trust was used again in the prayer meditation. I want to say it might have been an ongoing theme the past couple of days, or at least I've heard it at least more than once at this point. And so that word lingered in my mind this morning. And so as I started to look up verses centered around trust, and they resonated. When I got ready to write them down, the phrase "In God We Trust" came into my mind, so I wrote that down as well as the verses that I'm going to share with you all. And then I also started to think about America, and obviously the phrase "In God We Trust" is on the money, and I started to think about that aspect as well. But we'll get into that in a moment, I guess. Let's get into these verses. So Psalm 9 and 10 says, "And those who know your name put their trust in you. For you, O Lord, have not forsaken those who seek you." Yeah. The next one, Psalm 31, 14 and 15 says, "But I trust in you, O Lord. I say, you are my God. My times are in your hand. Rescue me from the hand of my enemies and from my persecutors." If I pause right there for a moment, and just reflect on, like I said, at some point I was reflecting on America, and you can research and it's going to say all kinds of things in regards to the origin of America, but when it comes to, I guess, the colonists or the Europeans and everything like that, they were kind of fleeing persecution, religious persecution in particular, which is interesting, and which is why I guess for the most part people consider the U.S. to be a Christian nation, or maybe they say like a Judeo-Christian nation or something like that. And then at the same time too, again, with the phrase "In God We Trust," it does put, God at the forefront to a certain extent. And so, I know personally I've researched the topic a little bit. So, that's going to be the Go Deeper section for you all today. To just research that phrase "In God We Trust," and come to find out it's apparently the official motto of America, which I didn't know it was that deep. But at the same time too, I'm reading Wikipedia, so I was reading mostly Wikipedia, so we know how that goes. But I just found it interesting, hearing the backstory about it, as well as seeing how much it's been kind of there's been some tension regarding it. All right, so if I could pause real quick, let's talk about my girl Allie. So I know this is random, but maybe that'll all fit in at some point. So basically, at some point over the weekend, I can't remember if it was Saturday or Friday, I don't know, at some point, I was listening in, or I was tuning in to one of the Telegram chats or whatever, and someone asked the question. They were like, "Why is Christianity receiving so much persecution, or why, are people coming against Christianity as opposed to any other religion?" And they were asking Allie them this. Not to say that they can't answer the question, but but anywho, so basically, Miss Shelley, or Allie's mom, Miss Shelley, Mama Bear, whatever you want to call her, she kind of answered the question in a way that I guess technically that I would answer the question if somebody was to ask me. Or even Allie herself was like, well, that's a good question. You should think about that. At the end of the day, if I think about, again, the phrase "In God We Trust," it doesn't say which God. It doesn't say in the God of the Bible. So in that way, it's I guess that's the way it's for everybody, as they say. However, if you are questioning different faiths, I just would say, as Allie said, that's a good question. If you notice, there is more persecution, or there is more issues, or people take more issues with the Bible and Christianity than they do any other religion. So you should ask yourself, why is that? You also should, ask yourself, I guess that's the main, ask yourself, start there. Okay. If you do nothing else, start with that. Why is that? And then perhaps you'll come to some type of answer. Now, my conclusion that I've come to, as I read the Bible, is that because Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and no one can come to the Father except through Him. And people take issue with that because they want to believe that there's some other way. But according to the Bible, there's no other way. So, and that's why there's some issue. And that's why there's the ongoing persecution of the church and of the Bible and of Christ. But hey, you guys can think and pray about that on your own. I'm just telling you what the Bible say. And again, so that's where the issue comes in, where it's like, oh, for the most part, even with the phrase "in God we trust," people have issue. People take issue with it. And I guess being on the money and everything like that. And so, yeah, even though it doesn't say, this guy versus that guy. And I guess because of the inclusiveness of America in that way, probably is ultimately leading us to the issues that we face now. If you want to agree or not agree or think about that or whatever the case is. But, and I don't know if this is why things is turning away from money. Like maybe in some little roundabout way, it's like, this is why cash is becoming non-existent, or, coins are becoming non-existent, because slowly it's like taking even that little phrase off of the situation. I mean, I guess you can't put, "in God we trust" on digital money. So, and on one hand, you don't want to think it's that deep, but it could be. It could be that deep and just that simple. You never know. But aside from it being on the money, and aside from it being this motto of America, or whatever the case is, or whatever it was supposed to be, in general, trusting in God, like, I guess that's the other question I would ask myself. Like, do I truly trust in God? I mean, I know that can be difficult. I know that can be, like, stressful. Like I said, even with me, like, I'm just giving you guys my one little example of, my situation over the past week. Me being frustrated that things aren't happening the way I want it to happen, or things are not happening the way I planned, or whatever the case is, or you do so much and then it's like, oh, it's out of my hands. I get it. That can be a difficult place to be in. Like, but at the same time too, there's a peace. There is something that comes with trusting God that, at the end of the day, that nothing else can doesn't compare to anything else. Now again, I don't feel like us in America, or even in this time period, us that are here in this time, even. Again, we're so used to things being on our terms. We're so used to things being quick and everything like that. That, I mean, our trust in God is like a little bit different compared to the people that was of the Bible and years before that. I mean, just, I can't even imagine like how they kept the faith the way they did. I mean, obviously it was God that preserved it, preserved it all and everything like that. But just saying, like, if you really, really think about it, like, all the people that, they didn't have the technology, they didn't have all the things that we have, they didn't have, like, the instant communication and all these different things, but somehow this word travels. Somehow, this is, saved countless lives, and I was going to say also ended countless lives, because people wanted to debate it or, don't agree with it or whatever. But again, those that believe that their life goes on beyond just what we experience here on earth. But that's a whole nother thing, y'all. I'm just saying, trusting in God, or in God we trust. Yeah, I mean, you just, at the end of the day, it's like with everything. That's the challenge, trusting Him with everything, every single thing. And, again, I don't know how we can, I don't know where you are. So I don't know how you can incorporate this into your life if you haven't already. But I mean, I guess you can start small, start small with, prayer, things you're confused about, taking it to Him, reading the Word, and, actually seeing what it says and living accordingly. And yeah, those are ways that you can at least get it started, friend. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, so Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make straight your paths. I mean, it don't get no plainer, y'all. That's one of them verses that, most Bible readers know, have heard before. But yeah, trust in the Lord with all our heart and not lean on our own understanding. At the end of the day, there's a lot of us that seem to be wise. There's a lot of us that seem to be, scholars, or, all these, got all kinds of education, whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, even with all of that, it's like, don't try to lean on your own understanding. If you're going to trust God, you need to just, again, with your whole heart, not leaning on your own understanding, trusting him, not trying to take your scholarly knowledge and then put away God. I don't know, y'all. It's just something to think about on today. In God we trust. Like I said, do we really trust God? As well as, just reflecting on if you're from America or something like that, but you can reflect on America in general, thinking of the origins of America, how people, trusted God enough to come to a whole different place just to, have the ability to serve the God that they wanted to serve. So that's one thing. And then again, with it being the American motto, even put on the money, that says something at least about the forefathers, or at least about the people that, put things in place. Now, whether people hold on to it over the years, that's a whole nother thing. And then again, if you feel or see or whatever the decline or the shifts in this world, especially here in America, then perhaps, it has something to do with that. Not necessarily just the phrase on the money, but the trust in God in particular. But anywho, y'all can, let that marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. Today, the Bible verse of today is Romans 8:1. It says, there is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus, who and I was just thinking to myself, man, I did pretty good. Who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. All right. Let me say that again, just so you guys can hear the whole thing. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow with the Lord's will. Bye-bye. If you like what you hear, then consider supporting our podcast. Every listener that supports us for $9.99 a month will be entered into our monthly raffle for a chance to win a free gift. So become a supporter today.